Before we begin, take a moment. If you believe in stories that heal, stories that remind us we're not alone in our grief, our love, or our quiet moments of hope, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay with this story until the very end, because sometimes the softest moments carry the biggest changes. Claire arrived at the lake earlier than most mornings allowed, guided by a quiet instinct rather than a plan. The sun was only just beginning to rise, stretching pale gold fingers across the surface of the water. And the world felt hushed, as if it were holding its breath alongside her. She needed that silence. She craved it in a way she hadn't been able to put into words for nearly 2 years. Since her husband's passing, the noise of life had become unbearable. Conversations felt heavy. Expectations felt suffocating. Even kindness, though well-intentioned, often felt like too much. Grief had settled into her chest not as sharp pain anymore, but as a constant weight, dull, persistent, and exhausting. This morning, though, the lake offered something different. She spread her towel carefully across the smooth wooden dock, her movements slow and deliberate, as though rushing might shatter the fragile calm around her. The wood was already warm beneath her fingers, holding on to the sun's promise of heat. As she sat down, she felt the first gentle kiss of sunlight against her skin. And for a brief moment, her shoulders relaxed. The lake stretched endlessly in front of her, calm and reflective, like a vast silver mirror. It caught the soft blues of the sky, the drifting white clouds, and reflected them back with a quiet honesty that made Claire's chest tighten. Birds called across the water, their voices echoing faintly, while leaves along the shoreline rustled in a slow, rhythmic dance. Nature was speaking, not loudly, not urgently, but steadily, patiently. Claire closed her eyes. She tilted her face toward the warmth, letting the sun rest against her eyelids, her cheeks, her forehead. The breeze carried the scent of fresh water mixed with pine and earth, and she breathed it in deeply, as though trying to fill the hollow spaces inside her lungs that grief had carved out over time. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, she felt something close to peace. Her thoughts, as they often did, drifted back to her husband, to the way his laughter used to cut through silence, to the evenings they spent talking about nothing and everything, to the life they had built, brick by brick, memory by memory, and how suddenly it had all collapsed, leaving her standing alone in the quiet aftermath. Here by the lake, the sadness didn't disappear, but it softened. It loosened its grip just enough for her to breathe. She thought about how much her world had changed, how she had learned to exist in quiet rooms, how nights stretched endlessly, filled with memories that were both comforting and cruel, how survival had become routine. Wake up, get through the day, go to sleep, without ever truly living again. And sitting there, listening to the gentle lap of water against the dock, Claire realized something that startled her. She had survived, but she had not yet allowed herself to move forward. The lake had once been a shared place, a place of laughter, conversation, and sunlight. She remembered her husband's hand wrapped around hers, warm and familiar. She remembered their son, Daniel, splashing water near the shore, carefree and loud, his laughter echoing across the surface of the lake like music. That memory tightened her chest. It was the kind of longing that didn't scream, it whispered. A quiet ache that made her eyes burn and her throat close, even as she tried to focus on the present. But she didn't let herself sink into it. Not today. Instead, she grounded herself in sensation. The heat of the sun on her arms, the softness of the towel beneath her, the subtle sway of the dock responding to her weight, the scent of water and trees and open air. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, contentment flickered inside her, fragile, tentative but real. Just as she began to settle fully into that fragile peace, she heard footsteps. They were light, hesitant, familiar. Claire opened her eyes. Daniel stood a few feet away, tall and still, holding 2 bottles of lemonade. His shadow stretched across the dock toward her. And for a moment, she simply stared, surprised by how grown he looked. His posture was confident, yet his expression held the softness she recognized from the boy he once was. "I thought you might want one," he said quietly, extending a bottle toward her. His voice did something unexpected to her heart. It ached, but gently, comfortingly. She reached out and took the bottle, her fingers brushing his. The contact was brief, innocent, and yet it sent a warmth through her chest that caught her off guard. Not romantic. Not inappropriate. Just deeply human. The quiet relief of being seen. Of being cared for. Daniel sat beside her, leaving a respectful distance between them. Neither spoke at first. They simply watched the water together, letting the silence exist without pressure. That silence wasn't empty. It was filled with shared grief, with years of unspoken pain, with love that had changed shape but never disappeared. And in that moment, Claire felt something stir inside her. A sense that this morning, this simple, ordinary moment by the lake, might matter more than she yet understood.